I'm going to hit record here, and we are live. All right, guys, I want to welcome a very special guest today. This is Mr. Vince Kelvin, who is one of the original founders in the pickup community. He's the #1 authority on pickup today, and he has been around the game since before the game was actually released. He's been in the pickup community for that long, and he's got that much experience, and he's helped thousands of people. He's been on Steve Harvey. He's been on CNN. He's been on BBC. He's been all around the globe. So everybody, welcome Mr. Vince Hollywood Kelvin himself. How are you today, Vince?
Ryan, I'm doing phenomenal. Better than ever, and it's barely the beginning. And I'm thrilled to be here with you, and thank you for having me on, and thank you for this beautiful introduction.
Absolutely. So we want to hop right into the interview today, where we want to learn a little bit about perhaps some things that people don't even know about you regarding your history in the pickup community. Like I said, it dates way back before the game. So why don't you tell us what pickup was like before the game came out? Because that's when most of us actually got into it. Especially me. I didn't even know it existed before the game. And so let's hear a little bit about the history behind the pickup community and how you got involved in it in the first place.
Well, you know, for all of us, it's the same thing. It feels like it began the moment we begin. You know, there's guys that are just starting now that are in their early 20s, and they refer to the beginning of the game based on when they started. So, of course, it's dependent on my own personal history. But for me, I've witnessed the birth of it when the NLP guys, and even Tony Robbins at the time, were starting to play with language patterns and eliciting value and that kind of stuff. What I can say about it, to keep it simple, to keep it brief, and for the purpose of bringing value to whomever is watching, is that I had gone through a very difficult period of time after my first wife passed away. Didn't really know, you know, in my early 20s, how do you deal with that? And even though I was at the right place, at the right time, the right person, I lived in Hollywood, California, I had everything going on for myself, it was a disaster. And what's interesting is that I started to not focus on improving that part of my life. At the time, I was focused on communication. And I did a lot of public speaking. I did a lot of one-on-one sessions for hypnotherapy. So not only conscious communication for the purpose of presenting entertainment, but also the substructure of communication. I had a passion for time efficiency. And of course, all the grades of self-help. And what's interesting is that as I dedicated myself to improve my life, things started to pick up. There was one exception. It was my dealings with women. And the moment I got fed up being fed up, then what's interesting is that it fairly rapidly evolved based on not pickup knowledge at the time, which was limited. A couple NLP patterns, Tony Robbins would elicit value and kind of anchor somebody by saying, like, how would you know it if you have found the person you were looking for with pointing at yourself? Some would do it more naturally than others. So little game bits like that, but mainly that's what I want to share with you guys. First, a moment of I'm fed up being fed up, and it can be mild. It can be, oh, I'm having it because it's Friday night, but by Monday I forget about it.
Right.
So, which gave me the fuel, and that was such a charge of being fed up and turning that into motivation that I haven't stopped since. And then just sharpening myself, you know, greater levels of being decisive, of taking action, things started to happen. But there, make no mistake, you sometimes don't realize that those guys who want to get the girl, well, sometimes, many times, the girl becomes a liability. Okay? So that's when I realized that you need, after that, a structure to take it somewhere. And then, you know, came, I was introduced to Ross Jeffries. I was at a Tony Robbins seminar, and I make this fast, you know. When you've lived quite some time, then every story can be a little longer. So I want to keep it short. So I got introduced to Tony Robbins. I worked with Tony Robbins, and as I was at a Tony Robbins event, somebody saw me talking to one girl after another, and I started to have that reputation. And he asked me if I knew of Ross Jeffries, and I didn't, and I got acquainted with Ross Jeffries. I contacted him right away. Long story short, before you knew it, we were teaching together. He even made me like the official speed seduction coach on the planet. And that was the birth of it all.
Wow.
So it was very interesting. And then came other people after that. So
amazing. So you got started back with Ross Jeffries. Now, how has Ross Jeffries, how does his style and his NLP methodology, how does that integrate with your game style today? Or is it mostly the same, or have you evolved past that?
Oh, it's a constant and never-ending evolution. One major pitfall, which is basic neuro-linguistic programming, is to not make the difference between something that's a thing. Okay, I got my phone here, I got my beats, we got a dry razor here. That's a thing, okay? You can turn it into a process, but basically until it is altered, at the exception of through time erosion, it remains pretty much the same way. Right. And many don't understand that the entire thing is a process, meaning women are not a thing, they're a process. So a woman may at a certain time say something and then say something else afterwards. So we are not a thing, meaning a guy could have a world record of history of feeling defeated, and that can change. It's not set. It's not written in stone. So with questions like that, we got to realize it's a constant and never-ending evolution. I know one thing. I know that at the end of this conversation, there will be an optimization of my game because I pay attention to that. So it's ongoing. The wonderful gift from Ross Jeffries and was his frames. You know, he had an ability to think outside of the box and set and observe frames. So he was a pioneer. There were many gaps. There were many things that were missing. But, you know, like in all fairness, if we really approach this in an intelligent manner, I can't even speak for his game because I'm not him and I'm not there yet today. So let go of a false sense that things are set and crystal. And the more you recognize that everything is a process, every moment is a fresh, new opportunity to make a new decision, to go about it differently. And the opportunities and the options are already there. We just lack the vision and the awareness.
Absolutely. Yes, it is. Nothing is set in stone. With a game, it's a constant evolution. It's optimizing 1% per day. And that's what I encourage people to do. If they can just improve themselves 1% every day, 100 days from now, you're going to be 100% different than how you are. And then there's always going to be room to improve after that. So that's a really important thing. Nothing is set in stone because, again, we're dealing with people. We're dealing with girls. We're dealing with, you know, emotion. And these things, like you said, it's not a physical state. It is a constantly changing with every passing second. And so getting to where you can actually influence the direction that a relationship is going is probably the best that you could possibly, you know, ever hope for. Because that's all it is. That's all the game is. It's just, how can I turn this interaction into a relationship?
Yeah, and even a relationship is not a set thing.
Right.
One big mistake, it's typical of us men, we got to watch out for that, is that sense of a point of arrival. A relationship is barely the beginning. We don't know where it's going to go next. So many options, opportunities in all directions.
Yep.
And too many guys miss out. For example, one way in which this manifests itself is the guy that also has the same false sense with his business. Being in business is barely the beginning. And you could thrive for some time and then the industries will change, or then there's a pandemic. You know, we just don't know. So don't be part of those guys for whom it always comes short because they go, well, I don't really have the time right now. I will first work on my business. So with that mindset, their business will go nowhere. Because even if their business picks up a little bit, then they're going to have the same attitude and they're going to be, well, I'm done working with my business. Now I'm working on being with girls. And also never think that eventually you reach that place where, okay, now you got the girl or now you got it. You got to put it in the bigger picture. In the bigger picture, it's going to be with you for the rest of your life and it's going to be in constant motion. Okay? Even if a guy gets the dream girl, well, with each new decade, he's still going to be with his dream girl. So what's he going to be like? You know, how many are the guys who reached 80 and they were in a reality show with beauties and they would have invites everywhere? No, there's only one Hugh Hefner, okay? So think long term. It's a measure of life. And for men, and if you study a little bit of history, oftentimes the downfall of some of the most powerful men on the planet was directly related with their mismanaging of their dealings with women. Okay? Wow. And for me, I've been a success coach also. And the pickup, you know, that's, for me, that's the point of appeal. And that's also the payoff. Because when a man is strong in his life, automatically, women will gravitate. So I believe in like full spectrum evolution. And yet, the men that I've seen struggle and really, really been distressed the most, regardless of how wealthy they were or healthy and so on, the thing that knocks them down is matters of women, relationship, and so on.
Yes, yes. I always teach guys that there's 4 keys to any successful life. And it's first, health, wealth, love, and relationships. And you cannot have, if any one of those 4 pieces are missing, then your entire life is out of balance. So you have to be able to take care of all 4 keys in order to have a happy, successful, abundant life. So that's awesome that you were able to touch on that as well. Now, going back to the business side, now this is something that we don't hear Vince Kelvin talk about a whole lot, is the business end of his pickup. Now, I've seen the pickup industry start off really, really strong. Whenever I was in it, it was like a huge deal. Nowadays, it seems like it's tapering off, where there's less coaches out there, there's less things going on. In your experience, what is happening today in the pickup community, and where do you see it 10 years from now?
I think there too, it goes back to the mindset. Mm-hmm. It's what we pay attention to. And at any given time in life and in history, there are pluses and there are minuses. Which one do you focus on? So right now, one thing that's evolved since the original days, it's the same as technology, okay? Initially, guys would twirl a girl one way, 17 times the other way, stack one hypnotic pattern after the other, just like it would take a lot to print a document or send a fax. And in this day and age, you know, it's at the tip of your fingers. So I think that we're better off than ever before, because through coming back to the drawing board, through coaching so many people and so on, right now we made headways and we can achieve things that we didn't know we could do before, you know. Not necessarily because you got to be mindful and put things in context, but one of my specialty is I start an interaction with a kiss. Okay. Now, we had no clue we could do that. So there's that rapid evolution. So right now, we're taking this thing further, and it can happen faster than ever before. Second, also, right now, we have the benefit, we're doing this Zoom thing, okay? Initially, we mentioned Ross Jeffries. The option, there was one option, there were two options. It was the basic home study course, which I believe ranged at $299, that you had to wait for in the mail as a package, could not be duplicated. It had that copy protection thing. Or there was the deluxe course. Now, if you wanted more than that, you had to go to a seminar in person. Now we can watch from home, we can watch on the go, we can watch on the phone. And also, you know, many have come and gone, but eventually the pillars who stayed, that's what you pay attention to. And also those who came along the way and those who specialize, you know, with just like you do, like online game and so on, there it's a better bracket of resources than you've ever had in your whole life. Plus also, right now we're further than ever before because two more things happen. One, there's been references after references in so many directions, you know, through time. Experience makes the difference. Through times, you know, one of my colleagues, Adam Lyons, he wanted a kid. Okay, that's his thing. He's got 5 kids, 5. Okay, and he did something amazing. There was a little shop in their hometown that one of the kids loved, and suddenly they read in the paper that due to the world situation, the store was going to close, and one of the kids was a little devastated. He went and he got the store, video store, game store back in business. Okay? Now, he's not doing that for any other reason than all the gift that he picked up along the way and the man that he became and all the men that he taught. Okay? My business partner, he lives with 5 women, 5 girlfriends. Okay? I give other people's example because I don't want to be one of those guys who go and look at me and I'm 52 and my girlfriend is less than half of my age and we do pickup videos together and I show her the texts and messages I'm getting from other girls, and I have the girl that's 6'5" and I am 5'6", Russian, and I get her to wear platform shoes when we hang out. Okay. The other thing that happened is that from the get-go, you know, oftentimes there's a relationship between majority and minority. Okay? Usually the worst part of the minority affects the best part of the majority and vice versa. Okay? The worst part of the majority affects the best part. The worst part of the majority affects the worst part of the minority. So there's very dedicated people who pioneered and they were thinking way beyond them. I'll explain what I mean by that in just a sec as I wrap up. And came along the way, some people were not willing to pay their dues, who got a full sense of it. And there was a lot of those misconceptions were cleared along the way, you know, those guys that were in forums talking about it, not doing anything. So genuinely get excited. The time is now. It's the best time ever. And it's barely the beginning. Now, also, those who stayed, see, one thing with the community, many found it appealing, like, oh, that would be great to do that. But for us, it's a passion, okay? Right. It's a passion. For me, that's my passion, that's my life purpose, and that's what matters. So it's better than ever. And then, you know, whatever we focus on, that's what we see. So I would not listen to anybody that would say like, oh, it used to be great. It's really a reflection of the person's journey. So for me, it's better than it's ever been. I'm psyched. We got ways to share the knowledge that are absolutely phenomenal in contrast to what it took. We used to have like duplication machines all over the place to try to burn another CD before we would run to the post office. It took 5, 6 girls here to do that, when now you can click on a link and boom, here we are.
Yep, this is the best opportunity we have ever had in history to learn not just pickup, but anything. We've got all the information available at our fingertips, and if we don't take advantage of it, it is completely on us. There's no one else to be held responsible other than us if we don't get what we want out of our lives with everything that we have at our disposal today. So tell me, Vince, what was the starting process for you like in pickup? Were you a natural, or did you ever have a time where this was something that was really difficult for you?
Well, the idea of a natural is confusing to many. And then it could also, if we don't feel that we're a natural, then we feel like we have a disadvantage. And there's a big bracket of gentlemen that really need this more than anybody else. And if they don't get it, it could be very detrimental,
Yes.
Growing older and lonelier, that's not a good plan for life. Now, they are totally capable. It's possible for them, but their challenge is that they bought into a false sense that somewhere, somehow, they have a disadvantage, and it's constantly reinforced with also a false sense of, Barbie doesn't want Ken. Barbie does not want Ken. I know the Barbies. The Barbies, first thing they would dislike about Ken is that Ken is getting more attention than them. The Barbie, the last thing they would want from Ken is that he's getting all those attention, the attention everywhere. So there's false stereotype. Like at some point, my hobby became my passion, my obsession to disprove those things. Example, I'm 5'6", and I had a world record of girls that were not a little bit taller than me, that were ridiculously taller, that it would be like a freak show. There's an interview where I'm on a girl on, I think it was in San Francisco, a news channel or something. And at some point, the reporter looks at her and goes like, but doesn't it bother you? And of course, in his own mind, it's obvious it's like the height. And she doesn't fucking get it, okay? So those guys that are under a false impression on both sides, they demean themselves when they're capable, and what contributes to that is a hallucination that if they don't look that way and so on, they can't. Then They don't take the steps, and they're missing the drive, the motivation. So
they don't believe it's possible.
I don't like to reinforce natural, and right now I do pay attention. Of course, I spent so many hours doing it for so many decades. So whenever I see a guy that's got a parent plus, I pay attention to what they do. But I've also helped a lot of naturals with their shortcomings. I knew a guy, he was lethal. But if for whatever reason a girl would say no to him, oh my God, he would become more needy and pushy than anyone I've ever witnessed. He'd be like traumatic, okay? So for me, the journey was simple. There's we just had that cosmic code. I don't mean to distract here. It was a huge convention that I put those conventions together with all those amazing speakers. Catherine Allman was there. Bad Boy was there. Incredible people. The list goes on. It was over 40 people. Ryan was there. Beautiful piece on online game. And there was a gentleman who does numerology and he's a psychic. And when he first met me, when I first met him, he knew nothing about me. And right away, he looked at me and go, you like women. So I had that going. I always knew I liked women. And then to dismiss that idea of where you're natural, where you're not, I think that we all have certain things that based on reference and interest turn into pluses. And we have certain things that if we don't pay attention or we have a false relation with them. We think we're not good with numbers, or we're not good, we're introverted, a limiting identity. Then they turn into minuses, okay? And I think there's a natural within all of us, once somebody starts to help you and you help yourself, to notice the pluses. But I plunged regardless afterwards. So looking back on it, the passion was greater. I've always loved communication, performance, you know, theater and so on. So from the get-go, I would be more talkative with girls, but don't start to think, oh, that explains it for him. Okay? Because you have pluses that I don't have. So I wouldn't encourage throwing it like this. I cover a little more ground than most, you know, we're guys, so we always like to, you know, tell the numbers, and that too, I discourage it. But I covered, when I speak men to men, I go, what about in your teens? I'm like, they're a little surprised, yeah? Cover more grounds, and then I had some devastating responses. So it's about accumulating all the right pieces and making it as natural as can be, and you don't let yourself be distracted by that. So for all of us, I had pluses and I had minuses. And now you look only at the minuses, you feel like you're doomed. You look only at the pluses, you're in denial. And before you know it, even though you feel like you're doing good, it comes short. So look at both and know that the remedy is to decide to do something about it.
So what's your process for transforming somebody who's maybe never kissed a girl in their life or had any type of social interaction with a woman, and then they want to get into this thing, they want to start getting really good? What is the first thing that you teach them?
Oh, it's magical. It's like anything. Okay, first we got to have points of reference. So to help the person to very rapidly drop all those false ideas, because it's all about references. So we fit in the following categories. Either we have existing references, which oftentimes those we call naturals, because they have prior references. So they operate naturally based on those references, confirmations that they get. There's those who have a blend of both, okay? We've had like great references. Yeah, I had a threesome at some point in college, but at the same time also I was devastated when that girl broke up with me, and that one I had a crush on her and I never really could quite get her, but I did line up a lot of girls when I partied, for example, okay? Then there's those who don't have reference. It's not that they're good or bad, but they're lacking the reference. They haven't been around many women, they're lacking the reference. And there's those who have poor references. So if we're in the first two category and half of the third one, that needs to go, because naturally, again, if we could plant a chip on somebody and they were under the impression that they had succeeded before, their whole demeanor changes. And any fear erodes from the concern that because they don't know, or because they don't want the same in the past, or because they're afraid that it could go this way or that way. If we remove those references, how do we remove those references? Okay? Well, you gotta put it in a bigger picture if your life was at stake. And it's not easy, because we watch movies, you know, where there's like people exploding and so on, so we get immune to that. But your life is at stake. How quickly? See, if somebody goes like, you don't kiss a girl within 72 hours, you gone. And we go, yeah, okay. And then we see that they're dragging another guy that it's been 72 hours and chop his head off, okay? In that moment, a lot of what we thought we couldn't do, it's hard for me, I'm not like this, would drop, okay? That helps you to clear the false references. Number two, what's essential is how you enter it. Remember, Ryan, guys, if you're paying attention, a moment ago I said that for me, things got better, not completely, because I still didn't know how to manage multiple girls, how to do a divorce without drama, how to deal with a girl who passed away, and so on. But the moment I just started to take charge as a man. So the challenge for so many is that they enter it in a way that it's too weak. It's too wishy-washy.
Mm.
You can't enter this and expect to succeed, just like anything in life, with the mindset of, well, let's see if it's going to help me. And that guy doesn't get the result, whether it's women, success, health, the four things you mentioned before. You got to resolve no matter what until. So there, it's important. I help you to enter it more potently, to be aware of your potent. You are not as weak as you think you are. And then also interactions. Everybody obsesses about what's the one thing. They think it's at the level of what you could say. It's how you enter it. Even online, even texting. The guy's looking at, did she text back? Okay, what should I text back? He's even like fearing looking at his phone. Okay, grab the phone. Boom. Okay, another one. Get some training. Put a profile here, a profile there. It's not like in the small pieces. So we take anyone and we give them like incredible ways to open, but their whole demeanor is like, yeah, okay, I'll see. Hey, girls. It's gonna go nowhere. Okay. On the other hand, ideally would be the guy who knows what to do and is doing it from that place. But if you bring in one thing, okay, it's that intensity, intensity. And if we are not used to it, one way we stay safe and we pretend that everything is okay when we know damn right that it's not. And if you want to know where you stand with the love, sex, romance thing, pause for a second and recall the most recent time when you got upset with yourself because you wanted somebody, you were lonely, and as a remedy, instead of gaming online, you watch pornography. And pornography is not one thing where you watch people doing it missionary style, right? It escalates and then it degrades. And then you would not show up to your buddies the next day and high-five them, and maybe you also don't have buddies. So in the privacy of your mind, you know how bad it is. And we got to watch out because sometimes it's easy to point at someone to go, oh, wow, he's very energized. Oh, is this? Oh, he's that. When the goddamn truth is this. He's a reminder that you're not tapping into your power. And once you have that power, then you can even do it silently, non-verbally. But a woman's got to feel you, and you got to feel it to do it. So these are some of the things. And then the ninja pieces, game like that, that's surreal. Some simple little chunks. My engineering of how I will assist you is reverse engineering. Mm-hmm. It's time after time, seeing the same situations, seeing guys going through the same situations. I go to the core and I go, what's the remedy? Give you a classic, simple example. Let's say, oftentimes you speak with girls, soon they're gonna go, well, we gotta go. For many guys, they don't know what to do then. One game bit. In that moment, they say, well, we got to go. Well, perfect. Since you have to go, let us at least be in touch. And you put your arm around her. Okay? So you can further escalate so you don't limit yourself with an exchange of information when you could take it further. Okay?
I love it.
So one word, perfect. Change of mindset. And then it's absolutely surreal, the journey, I remember I was on a podcast once and one guy afterwards told me, that was amazing, but all those crazy stories of like foursomes and so on, I don't think you should tell them anymore. I go, why? Because people like it and then they hear this and they go, really? Is this really true? So, okay, I'll pass it back to you, Ryan.
I love it. I love it. So if a guy's just starting out, you said the first thing that you do is try to get him connected into his core power as a man. What does it look like for that to happen? Is it just
it's simple. Make no mistake. The tendency to look too far makes us not fully aware of what's already there. And I like to focus on the constant. A person, for example, whom every day would eat ice cream again and again and again. It would be easy for them to go, oh, man, I don't know what I'm doing, man, I'm eating all that ice cream, but I love it, and so on. Or we could look at, wow, what discipline. Every day you did whatever it took to get the ice cream. Now, why don't we take that beautiful, amazing quality and direct it towards something that long-term is a greater payoff. So, you know, you're the king that went dormant. There's always a place where we're as persistent as can be and as anybody else. And there it's also always dependent when people go, oh, I'm not disciplined, I'm not motivated, and so on. It's dependent on what you're paying attention to. Once again, if you pay attention to the fact that as a man, your desire for women will never leave, okay? Look around you. How many people are in relationships that you look at them and you go like, oh, wow, I wouldn't want to be in their shoes.
Right.
And there's other factors coming into play. The fact that, yes, at a certain age, we feel invincible. We're never going to change. We're too powerful. We're too cool for anything. But eventually we realize that the clock is ticking to tap into that. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. The law of coexistence. People talk about approach anxiety. Nonsense. Coexistence could be, you do acknowledge that you're not feeling comfortable, but that's not sufficient enough for you not to take steps. So don't wait till you feel completely ready. Again, it's treating a process as if it's a thing. So begin and you'll gain momentum and it won't be perfect, but what's the alternative? Hope that it's going to happen by itself. You know, we talk about naturals, but here's another important category of men we got to talk about. Those who didn't seem to have to worry too much about it, and they manifested reasonably. Look at the divorce rate. Look at how many elder couples you see walk happy together, they're chit-chatting, they're upbeat, and so on. So often you see guys that you can tell that's a strong man right there. But the guy looks beat and he's walking behind the girl, looking beat, bored, and almost like he's her servant.
Yeah.
So there's also the category of guys that at no point they would have said like, you know, I really need help with this. But they made the big mistake. They didn't think like champions. They didn't know about optimization. They didn't really know the true nature of things. And then you see them like later on and they're running a business, but they're not so happy. And then they try to have a mistress, but they don't even know how to do that. And they feel bad because they're dishonest. So you learn, you dive in. Don't try to do it perfectly, but begin, do it now. And I know, you know, most bright men, you can only benefit. And this is also how we do things in this day and age. You don't know a word. What do? You pick up your phone and you Google it. Yeah?
Yep.
But if you only rely on Google and free internet stuff to get it, you won't go very far. You know that. Okay? So there, the next step is go for the best of the best of the best. You got to save time. Don't go for like, oh, this guy used to work for this guy and he used to coach for this guy and he used to do this. Like, no, you go where, you know, that's like, been there, done that. Let me show you.
Exactly. So let's say there's a guy getting into this thing right now and they're ready to make a big change in their life and they're looking at Vince Kelvin and they're looking at a couple of other guys. What is it about you that you teach that nobody else has to offer? Why would somebody want to go with you?
Very good question. All right. So I grew up in, I traveled a lot when I was a kid, but I grew up in a small town in Switzerland. I also lived in London, Amsterdam, and so on, but that's not the point right here. And there was less supply than there was demand. Anywhere else, it probably would have been the case. So at age 13, I started to teach drugs. It was like You not want to study with anybody, or you want to study with the 13-year-old? That's pretty good. Okay? So I'm now 52, and I taught nonstop since. For music, I started to teach hypnotherapy, success coaching, time efficiency, improvisation, and so on. Now, do I look very academical? Yes, I have a lot of posters of movies I was in, and on the other side, I got all those diplomas and so on, of certification of this, and that. But okay, when it comes to, the relationship of observing the result that it's producing for the person, and then adjusting, and that relationship between the one teaching and the one learning, it's been my whole life. Now, many people, it's a little bit of an either or. Then experiences with women also. At some point, I did silly things, like betting and living with strippers. It's a fantasy. If it's really important to you, you can do it, but I don't think that it's like the alpha and the omega of wow, the most valuable life. But I did things like that, betting porn stars and so on. Why did I do that? Because I was hearing others marketing, get laid like a rock star. I said, okay, let's get laid like a rock star. I set a tour, a world tour, not playing music, teaching pickup, where I think I did 97 cities in just over a little over 120 days. So it was like another flight, another city, boom, pull, make it happen. Okay? But I did that to demonstrate that, okay, don't just talk about it, do it. So a world record of experiences in all difference. And one of my, actually my spiritual brother, AZD, announced me the other day, we're sharing the stage, and he said, they might be the next guy on the block with a couple gimmicks. At the same time, can this guy tell you what to do? I got married 5 times, okay? How much a limit, see, I don't even know the word. How much am I paying still because of those divorces? Nothing. How many of those guys could teach you how to do a prenup that is so potent that if you want to be generous, you can give her something? And I did that too, okay? 2 years ago, a girlfriend of mine passed away. That was the second time it happened. How many guys can tell you? So experience makes the difference. And then also, while many came and went, I came, Vinny, Vidi, Vici, I conquered, I conquered, and I stayed. And I'm nicknamed the Godfather, partially because every time that I think, okay, I've done it with the pickups, no, it's my life purpose, my mission, so I'm right back at it. Trust me, I tried to escape this thing, but I love to pass it on, to make your life easier. The challenge also, okay, is that I've had a very extensive journey. You ever seen the movie Taken? I've had a very extensive journey.
I don't think so.
Lines that really go, I possess a set of skills. That's me, okay? I possess a set of skills that if you call me like in a business negotiation and you go, we don't want to see you with your pink hair, but tell me what to fucking say and tell me what you see in structure, okay? I will pull a heist, so to speak, a mental heist like you've never fucking seen, okay? Why? Because I paid my dues. And I didn't pay my dues only in nightclubs. I paid my dues doing over 20,000 hours of hypnotherapy coaching. It's very diverse. I love fashion, and I'm an artist at heart. I believe I'm a Renaissance man. I believe no one is an artist or an engineer. We're Renaissance men. And I'm happy this way. I don't need the validation of people going, do you know this guy, man? But my insider clients, they learn time efficiency from me. They learn how to start their own career. And so there's so many pluses that are not necessarily perceived when you first see a picture of me with 3 girls. And that's okay. That's up to you to discover. So that's why there's nothing like me, and there will never be anything like me. And you don't have to be like me, but you have to take advantage of an adventurer like me, okay? Because I got this thing when most people would have gone, wow, that's okay. I slept with 6 girls today. No, 7. Now you hear what? Sleeping with 7 different girls that don't know each other in one day? Why not? But I don't want to do that. No, it's not about you doing that. See, I've helped people like a gentleman, you know, conservative. I love to find a good lady. I go to those luncheons with my church. Great, let me help you with that. Record time, okay? I brought people that had been together for 20 years back together, solid, okay? But you won't know till you go. So I gather all those distinctions. It's richer than anything on the planet. I do have spectacular colleagues that are equally skilled to help you. It's a handful of us. Your best bet is don't go and visit one there and visit one there. Pick one. And if you can find a way to just like, that's why I do the Cosmic Code, where a one-stop shop where you can get, because make no mistake also, you know, for me, I help guys with their interior decoration. It's like all those different aspects. So you got to learn a little bit about tantra. You got to learn a little bit about you got to know how to take care of your body. You know, the early days, they were adorable. One big omission of the early days of seduction was they totally omitted the physical factor. No, looks don't matter, but that doesn't mean you should look terrible and not take care of yourself, okay? Meaning there's a greater ingredient than looks. Looks do matter. So look at your best, build your body, and then accept yourself as you are. See, the goal is not, I'm 5'6", I want to be 5'7", or I'm 52, I'm going to lie and say I'm younger. The goal is, what are you doing with what you have? Would everybody turn around and go, wow, look at you. You really gave this everything. So you got to grasp as many pieces as needed. And the, you know, core frame, I finished this answer with that. The core frame in life is that we've all been sold that idea that one day you will arrive and everything will be perfect and it's going to stay the same forever. And then it creates crazy attachment, dependence, and so on. If you didn't realize, it's a pretty fucking intense experience. You can have things that most wouldn't dare dreaming of, and yet nothing comes with a free ride, and you are best off to do everything that you can, as often as you can, for as long as you can, until and beyond. There's this Hollywood actor, once I was chatting with him, Ray Liotta, you know, the guy from Goodfellas.
Yeah.
And Ray at somebody said, make no mistake, Vince, you know, I'm an award-winning, Oscar-winning actor. But if I don't hustle today, it doesn't matter. Okay, so don't fear the hustle. Dive in. Look at your best. Build the best life that you can in multi-direction, and make it count.
For sure. Going back to what you're saying about looks, I believe that looks do matter, but not as much as guys think that they matter. But it is still the responsibility of every guy to try to maximize what he has and make the best use of it possible. And so if you look, you know, if you're too fat, hit the gym. If you're too skinny, you know, put on a little bit of weight, get some style coaching. Just work on, like, this is everything that you have, your game, your looks, your personality, your confidence. These are all tools that are in your arsenal. And why would you choose to neglect something that could help you get in the door that you're looking to go into in the first place? So
yeah.
And
you can't expect, like, you know, many guys fantasize about this top-looking girl with supreme fashion that really got a juicy, exciting life, you know, that type of girl. You can't expect that kind of woman will be fascinated if you're not aware of all those aspects yourself in ways that are even greater than her. Can have the dynamic of you become dependent on the girl. It should be like you're with a top beauty and you go, interesting, let me show you something, okay? Take a step back, okay? Now turn your face a little bit like this. All right, that's your better angle. Now I'm gonna add one thing to it, okay? Now you're the master.
Amazing. And that is actually a good segue into your course called the 8 Elements of the Essence of Sex Appeal. where you teach guys everything about style and how to make yourself look better and how to find your fashion and optimize yourself in the looks department. Would you tell us a little bit about that course?
Yeah, absolutely. To me, it's about the inner makeover before anything. Okay. And we all have our style. Of course, we cannot be the invisible men. So you got to make sure that there is appeal. I've never seen a billboard that small. Okay. So guys will go, oh, that looks wild. I don't know if I should wear a suit and so on. Well, fine. You won't have much social appeal. That's your choice. But right there in this course, I answer a trick question, because we look at women and we find them sexy, okay? And as we find them sexy, we want them to find us sexy. But we are not sexy the way they are. So we erode that confusion. Yet what reference, what makes a man have sex appeal? So I break down what real sex appeal is. Because it's easy for a man to start to think like, oh, I see girls and they do like things with their lips. And they go, oh yeah, really? And the guy starts to do that. Either he's going to start to come across as gay or creepy. Yeah. So there's a lot of confusion right there. And we search in all of the wrong places, or we try to overly be cool. So it's an essential ingredient that will remove so much confusion, and the benefits are many, but here's three that are essential. You need them right now. One, you can't filter women through the eyes of a guy, because they don't think like us, we don't think like them. So make no mistake, what to you appears to be sexy, you don't, and then you go, oh, wow, but I'm not the equivalent of that. That's not what appeals to them. So my point was with the looks, it's you gotta own you first. Yeah. Zero apology. And then you can see even a violation of look. Those guys that they shouldn't do that, but they still pull it even though they're not looking at their best, because they own that. So there's options. The second thing also is a greater sense, because we're very confused, especially in this day and age. What's it like to be masculine? So then we go the wrong way. You know, I see some very bright gentlemen that suddenly try to be like that, or they don't know that they can also bring some strength. And eventually, it's also your own sense of self-image, self-relation. So I love that course. And it came, it was almost like a gift. You know, it came all in one shot. And it's very well structured. It's a breakdown. I love the other course, How to Touch Like a Master. Yeah. That's essential also, because for many guys, they create a gap. See, the traditional way to do it, which does not work, okay? If it works, it's something else, is you waiting to make your move, and you don't know when to make your move. And too many guys, they think that you're going to kiss a girl by going from we're talking to now we're kissing, or we're talking to now we're having sex. So Touch Like a Master is a 10-day training where one day at a time, starting with things you could do the first few things today as you are, and then we escalate, breaking it down so it becomes much more natural for you and much more natural for her, and little steps lead far, okay? Guys go like, at what point should I touch her? Would that be too much? And so on. Well, how about you move your hands a little bit more and use some pre-touch. Pre-touch would be, let's say, this is her shoulder, this is my hand. I go, you know, the funny thing, and now I'm not touching, but my hand is closer. So it's a beautiful art. And then there's the big one, you know, which is your, and it's so essential right now. Right now, we don't know where things are going. So already the world is evolving. My buddy, the comedian, Rocco says, like, it's all in the apps now. You know, make no mistake. You need real game one-on-one, because eventually you're not going to have digital sex. But right now, just like it's one dating app after another. You need to master that. And a big part of communication is via texting. But they're a big mistake, because we use computers and phones all day long, and we text already. Most guys, they think that it's sufficient, and it's a disaster. So you need to know exactly the art of texting, the art of online game, all those pieces. You can't have just one piece without the other. You know, you study El Tantra, automatically you come across differently, because Tantra teaches you how to kind of channel your own sexual flow, so you're no longer pushy and so on. But the Tantra of itself, well, you need to have people to do Tantra with. So get all the pieces.
And all these courses are available on our platform called Kismet Academy, which is basically the Netflix of dating. So if you're watching this on YouTube or Instagram or somewhere or Facebook, you are going to be able to go and access all of Vince's courses, the style course, his texting course, the 10 days to touch like a pro, and Aphrodite's 11 laws of lust. All those courses are available on Kismet Academy, and many, many more. We've got Catherine Allman on there. We've got all my courses are on there, and we're constantly adding new courses. We've got, I think, over a dozen instructors. I'm hoping by the end of the summer, we're going to have 50 instructors on this platform, and you can access everything for just $19.95 a month. So go to vincekelvin.club to access the program through Vince's link. That's going to give you a 15% off discount whenever you go use Vince's link. So
I love the name, by the way. I love the name, the Netflix of dating. And yeah, when you contacted me with this idea, we had played with it, but it was a long time ago. And the goal, which is what we've been stating, the goal is to be able to dive in with the necessary pre-selected diversity to enrich yourself. We spend so much time watching all the Netflix and so on. And entertainment is great, you know, but eventually, even if you're an actor or a movie maker, you got to make your own movie. So why not make it count and study? So I really want to thank you. I think that not only I really appreciate the interview, I also love to be part of what you're doing, and that is a huge contribution. Okay.
Thank you.
If you put it in context, you know, the guy that had to run and study with this guy and pay like $1,000 or $2 just for a boot camp, and then get that other piece, and then get a fashion consultant, and now what would they do? They would, I think, they would kill to be like, what? $19 and I can get it right in front of me? Where do I need to go? What movie theater? I get in my car right now. No, it's right there at home on your phone. You can be doing other things. You're diving, the power of repetition, diversity, and so on. It's an absolute must. I'm a little envious and jealous. You know what? I want a time traveling machine, and I'm going to delay my birth. So I'll arrive right now, and I'll be like, what about with women? I've been doing okay, but at the same time, you know, it was a disaster with my first one. Don't worry. You can find the you from the past, as well as all those wonderful people.
Everything you need. Everything you need right on Kismet Academy. So thank you so much.
Or get a porn membership, and every time you go out, blow $100 to hopefully have enough liquid courage to find yourself thinking you're doing amazing, when in fact from her she goes, that guy swears.
Yeah, that's so important too, because we got all this information at our fingertips, yet most people want to sit around and watch Netflix. They want to watch Hulu, and they'll spend 3 or 4 hours binge watching a show. But if they would only take that amount of time and spend it instead binge watching on something that's completely useless, binge on something that is going to actually help you and change the way that you move and operate throughout the world, something that's going to help your dating life, something that's going to help you in virtually every single area of your life. And that is the whole point of Kismet Academy. Courses that were originally sold for thousands of dollars, some of them, or at least hundreds of dollars, are now available for just $19.95 a month. So
Yeah.
you can't.
And guys, you got to know it for you. You got to know it for you. You know, for me, I mean, if one guy still be like, I wonder, well, then wonder. And the, you know, you talk about my courses, and yet for me, I'm at this point, I'm telling every single guy that studies with me, yes, I will optimize your game that you go pretty much anywhere and you'll thrive. But when it comes to online and understanding the algorithm, that's the trick. And I'm learning from you, Ryan. Pay attention, okay? Understanding the algorithm, the logistic aspect, the big question, what should I do with my profile, okay? There's no better course than yours. It's thorough, it's outlined, it's perfect. So, you know, all my guys that have everything from me, they do one-on-one coaching and so on, that for them, me, I don't fuck around with people who want help. It's like, we need to get you the result. If not for the next guy that could get it, but then they hesitate because they see you and they go, oh, but it's not that good, okay? So it's legacy. All my guys, it's mandatory. If you're watching this right now, mandatory, okay? You gotta go there, Kismet TV, and you watch Ryan's courses. And if you don't want to do that, then don't study with me. That's for my guys. Everybody else, you do whatever you want. But for my guys. And my guys, when they hear something like this, they know it and they make it pay off and they're thriving. You know, there's a guy that studied your course also, side note, okay? And I know him very well, and he's worked with me for some time. But the combination of the two, he reported to me the other day, and he's not even bragging, he's all casual about it. He betted 5 girls, and he kissed one, and the last one, they played a little bit last week. And that's, he lives in, I believe he's in, he's either in Texas or Kansas right now, okay?
Wow.
And yeah, the guy is, he's not wild looking. Doesn't have any tattoos and so on. Okay, but the acceleration, the reality. So, enough said.
That's amazing. I would love to talk to that guy. Whoever. Yeah, that sounds amazing. I'd love to hear a story about how he's able to pull that off. I think that could be pretty valuable for a lot of the people to see someone actually using that information and applying it and getting the result.
Of course. And even if you plan to be with one woman for the rest of your life, then it should be the woman that's saying, hey, can you do this for us, please? Because we got a fairly good thing going on. And, you know, even if you say like, oh, you know, but I'll get my kids, I'm good. Wow. Your kids should be like, they should break their little bank and go, Dad, can you please go find out what they have to say? Because I don't want to be just another kid that's going to be like, oh, but why are you guys not together anymore? Where are you guys arguing? And you can't pass on the same shit. You got to be the real change that the world needs. So, well, anyway, I talk a lot because I love to talk to women and I love to teach. So
that's what makes me so good.
All right.
Awesome.
Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Thank you so much, Vince, for being a part of this. Everybody go to vincekelvin.club right now and go get on Kismet Academy, get all of our courses, start transforming your dating life in a way that you have never thought possible.
Got a club. I didn't know. I got a club. vincekelvin.club. I love it. I'm going.
All right. Well, all right. Thank you, Vince. We'll see you later.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, everybody.